Hi guys. Okay. So, am I early? Am I late? I think I'm early late. My son always comes, let's see. Okay. Let me see. What is up with, let me make sure you can hear me. Something is whacked with my screen here. So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you had a chance to catch up to that press conference that was ridiculous. Yes, it is. Good. Okay, so the press conference was ridiculous. Hi, Bucky. Hi, Linda Uribe. Hi, White Angel. I'll just recap. We went over the press conference like this afternoon. I'm going to look for any new updates. There's a lot of crap on YouTube that says a lot of stuff. You can't believe everything of what you hear because they already said that people were reporting that there was a second suspect and that he was let go. That's not true. Didn't happen. It's amazing that there's 800 cameras, okay, at Brown University, and yet with 800 cameras, the only images they have of the shooter are from hours before. Okay? Hours before the shooting. It was infuriating because useless, right, Linda? They don't tell you why they suspect this person is the shooter. Okay? Because there's nothing with this person going into the engineering building, coming out of the engineering building, in the parking lot of the university, walking around the university. No, they have them hours before on totally different streets. And they say he was all in black. It's clear this guy had green jacket. Half of it was green. They don't even have one good view of this person's face. It's so convoluted, and the press conference was totally not even needed because they were just defending and begging for the public's help. Oh, we've got these pictures now. Do we know who it is? No. Do we know where they are? No. Do we think they're armed and dangerous? Yes. There's a $50,000 reward if you find them, or you find anything that leads to them finding this person. But the public, don't worry about it. It's okay because we haven't had any threats since, after that shooting happened. We haven't had any threats. Why should the public feel safe? There were no threats before the shooting. There was no threats. Nobody called up and said, hey, I'm going to come up and shoot up the engineering building today. Nobody said that. Why are these people even saying that the public should feel safe because there's been no threats? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And any parent that would have their child still on that campus, I don't even know. Okay? I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that campus. They don't know who that is. They don't know if it's a student. They don't know who it is. And that's the other thing. Supposedly, the doors of that building were open because the kids were taking exams. Now, how would somebody know that unless they were a student or somehow connected to another student? But all of these obvious questions weren't answered. Where is all the footage from the cameras? It's infuriating, and there are no answers. How is there no footage? I don't get it. I asked Ethan today. I said, where are the cameras? in your university? He said, well, there's cameras all on the outside, like everywhere, like on the outside of all the buildings, that going down on all the sidewalks around all the buildings, all of that. There's cameras. Cameras in parking lots. Why do they have no footage of this person on the campus? It makes no sense. And then all the misinformation. So, yeah, there's this one eyewitness. He's a teaching assistant, right? Said he stared the shooter right in the eyes. He stared him right in the eyes. He describes him, right? Doesn't he describe him dressed all in black? Well, the picture of the guy is not dressed in black. He looks like he has one of those Patagonia jackets on that's half green, and it even looks like a very dark blue, okay? It's not all black. The other thing is, he says the shooter had a rifle. Well, they said today the shooter didn't have a rifle. It was a 9mm. It's crazy. And are you telling me that's the only eyewitness they have? Some other person said the shooter had a camouflage mask all over his face. Well, the picture of the person they put there has a black COVID kind of mask, okay, and a beanie type hat. They don't have any camouflage mask. Now, then I thought maybe they misunderstood the person. Do they mean they had a mask to camouflage their face, or was it one of those camouflage like balaclavas? Nobody is asking for any specifics. It's driving me crazy. And why? What led them to the Best Western? What led them to the Best Western? What? And then they're, without asking, like they're like, oh, don't worry that just because we were up at the Best Western doesn't mean we let, everything go down this end. You're right. What'd you say? You're right. You're right. Where is the footage? Yeah, where's the footage? I don't get it. And then the other thing I'm thinking is, like, people that were in other buildings, okay? Here's the other thing. Where the hell were the university police? Where were the university police? My daughter's campus, university police all around it. When she went for her master's, that university police all around it. Okay? Ethan's college, university police are everywhere you look. I told you I was taking the seed pods. I'm like, can I take the... Yeah. They didn't give us a... But they're right there. The university police are right there. They are constantly patrolling. So, if they were able to get students an alert that told them to shelter in place, that told them there was an active shooter, why didn't the university police have any footage of this person? Where were the university police? People heard the shots. Okay? When they heard the shots, where were the university police? They should be on the campus. I don't get it. I don't get it. So many things do not make any sense. These are the college brightest students. Yeah, these are very bright students. This is an Ivy League university. What the heck is going on? Nothing makes sense here. Kids were warning other buildings. Okay, here's the other thing. There's reports from kids that ran out of this building and alerted people in the library next door to get out. There's an active shooter. We know kids today have a phone with them everywhere. Are you telling me that not one kid was in another building, maybe facing this engineering building, and got some footage of this person leaving somehow? No one did? Not one person? From the safety of a window or from the safety of another building or anything? They're telling people they have to leave from the library? But there's no one that got any footage or got a look at this person. Other than this teaching assistant that obviously, if that's the suspect, they've got the color wrong, they've got the gun wrong. Hi, Cranky. I don't know. It's infuriating. It's just nutty. I'm sure, like a lot of you, they did the same thing. It's just, I don't know. The heck? And now they're like, oh, there's, don't worry about it. Then now I heard they're doing the finals online, and I don't know. It's really a bunch of baloney. It's ridiculous. So, I don't know. Let me see what the latest is, because I was cleaning my floor, so I wasn't looking at the latest. I was just rolling it around in my mind what they said, and it's crazy. I mean, these families whose kids were killed. Can you imagine what they're thinking? Like, what in the world? And we don't know where this person is now, but we're supposed to feel really safe. Oh yeah, don't worry about it because we haven't had any threats. Well, you didn't have any threats leading up to that, Einstein. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. And the IRS is there helping, so that's good. They honestly say I've never heard the IRS helping with the manhunt, but they are. It's good. Police are pursuing a new lead based on photos and videos of an individual taken around 2 p.m. on Saturday, hours before the deadly mass shooting at Brown University. The FBI is announcing a $50,000 reward if it leads to the arrest and conviction. Also, a description saying the person is approximately 5'8" with a stocky build. Very descriptive, right? 5'8" with a stocky build. Earlier, a person of interest detained in connection with the attack was released and cleared in the investigation, said Attorney General Peter Noronha. Now, let's see what else we got. So, One student said their sense of security was completely destroyed when the person was released. Brown University student Annie Johnson said her sense of security was completely destroyed after she received news that the initial person of interest was released from custody. She said, and I quote, "It felt like just the smallest amount of comfort to know, well, like at least they found the guy and they have him and they know who it was, and now it's like that one sense of security was just completely destroyed." She said that being in the airport to getting ready to fly home was a really weird experience, as she was surrounded by people who may have read about the university shooting on their phones and likely didn't understand what it was like to live through it. And she said, and I quote, "I have to have sympathy for those people and I have to understand them because like just a week before, I probably would have done the same thing." I don't know, that doesn't make sense. What did they do? It sounds like there's something missing from that story. Okay. Okay, here's distinct details that they said about the new person of interest. New videos of an individual police are calling a person of interest provide a fresh look at the person's size, how they walk, and other details that may help the public to identify them, because they're looking for your help, guys, because they don't know who this is, okay? And they have no idea where this person is, except that this person is probably armed and dangerous. The individual has a distinct gait and a consistent rhythm that someone close to them might be able to identify. Yeah, unless they're lying. Okay, unless they're purposely walking like that, maybe because they have a lot of tactile stuff on or because they're wanting to present a certain way. He kind of walks the same way when he's on the sidewalk or crossing the street, and he appears to favor his left leg just slightly, not so much. Maybe he's got guns, ammunition on his leg, okay, which is causing it to be heavier and not able to bend as much. We don't know. Not so much that it would be indicative of any sort of permanent disability, but maybe the remnant of an old surgery or a knee injury or something like that. It's those kind of details that I think could maybe trip somebody's recollection. Listen to this. Let's see. Well, maybe that this is someone they know in their life. Okay. Authorities released the videos Monday afternoon describing the individual as approximately 5'8" with a stocky build. Well, those are very distinctive, characteristics, right? The FBI continues to assist in Brown University shooting. The FBI is they were going through like a retaining wall, going through the cracks to see if there was anything in them in between the rocks and in the snow and around houses and in backyards. Let's see, the Attorney General said that he was confident that law enforcement would be able to find the person of interest. He also called the person who was shown in the videos that were released today a significant person of interest. Possibly more than that. Hopefully, very quickly, we can get this person identified, detained, questioned if possible, but certainly he is our primary person of interest right now. And this one. The shooter in Saturday's attack definitely targeted Brown University, said the police chief. Wow, that's an epiphany almost. Isn't that almost an epiphany that the shooter targeted Brown University? Wow, that's amazing. Wow. I'm glad they had a press conference for that, because I didn't know that they targeted Brown University. I I keep thinking that they was, what was it, Harvard? I thought it was Harvard that they targeted, or was it Princeton? I don't know, but it definitely is Brown University that was targeted. We heard it right from the police chief. Okay. Authorities say they're working to reconstruct the person's movements. Okay. There's been steady progress in identifying the person in the video released, said Peter Naranta. Yeah. Okay, so, and they want to know there's no second person of interest that was taken into custody. That was all something that was fabricated on social media or something that was not from the police. And they're not going to have any more briefings unless there's something to update, a prominent update. Okay, maybe sometime tomorrow, but yeah, that's what we know. And just so you didn't forget, they did target Brown University, okay? This is targeted against Brown University. Okay, and that is all there is about that right now. And in case you missed it, the police chief confirmed this was a targeted attack at Brown University. All right? Targeted attack. They were not trying for Princeton or anything else. This was definitely targeted against Brown University. Really said that in a press conference. Okay, now, Cranky says, you're right. It is weird that no one who had phones had a video or something. Absolutely. How many times do things happen and there's videos that kids take? And you know the way a university is. There's the buildings are around. So some buildings face these other buildings. Just like this kid got people out of a library. So many times if he's yelling and screaming, the kids come out of the library, could have had his phone on, right? Just recording what was going on. And then all these kids that are rushing out of the library, right? So many of them are on Snapchat and all those apps where they may be talking to someone or, I don't know. No one has a video of anything that was going on. You wonder how many of the kids had their phones because of it being an exam. But there were a lot of kids that weren't in the exam. There were kids that were in the library. There next door, there were kids all over the campus. So yeah. And so yeah, I don't know. Cat Be Gone. Hi, Cat Be Gone. Hi, Linda. Bucky. Linda Uribe. Cranky. Megan Els. These kids don't want to get kicked out for having a phone, but I'm sure they never thought they were going to be... Yeah, I guarantee you they still have their phones. They have their phones, Megan Els, because many of them reported getting the update about the active shooter. Remember? They had their phones. They got the updates on the phones. They kept saying, when I got the email from the university, when I got the update from the university, listen to some of their stories. They're talking about getting the stuff off their phone. So it doesn't make sense to me that no one has videos, no one saw this person and got any kind of a better description. We're saying that one person, two people, Where were the university police? Yeah, they're never without phones, no. And they did have phones because they said they got alerts. They got the alerts to shelter in place. They got the alerts. They even put out the whole messages of what came through. Were they confiscated? No. They weren't confiscated. It's just odd. It's so odd. The whole thing is so odd. And I know they had their phones because I was watching something. I have one who is in the 12th and knows the new law about not having his phone. He polices himself. He turns it off and doesn't turn it back on until school ends. But I know because one of these kids, there was, I guess, a reporter that either was very close to the family. At first, there was his dad, but he called him while he was in the lockdown and told him, and he's like, "Oh, I thank you for that." They called the media. They called the media to come and cover this. Yes. I wish I could remember the reporter's name. He's a very prominent reporter there. And he's like, "Oh, I thank you," and he gave him a hug and everything. And he's like, and the kid was not a student there. The kid was visiting a student there. The girl who died reminds me of Sarah Michelle. So, yeah, they had phones. It just doesn't make sense. And there's 800 cameras, and all they have is this grainy video and photos of somebody walking on a street. It's crazy. Okay, and then Rob Reiner. There's some information about Rob Reiner. Okay, so Saturday night, Rob and Michelle went with their son Nick to a party at Conan O'Brien's house. Conan O'Brien was having, I guess it was like some kind of a Christmas holiday party. So they went to that party. It does sound really sus cranky. It's crazy. They went to that holiday party, and apparently Rob and Nick got in a huge, and they said like huge fight. And part of the thing that Nick was doing is Nick was acting really off, and he was asking people, "Are you famous? Are you famous? Are you famous?" And I guess it was ticking off Rob Reiner, and they got into it, and the fight got so bad that Rob and Michelle went home. Now, they don't mention if Nick went home with them at that time, if he left before, if he left after. You don't know. But there was a huge fight. And then, I thought last night, because I was talking with Jen, and she said, how could he take them both on? And I said, all I thought about, just by what they said they have lacerations that are consistent with a knife. Now, when I thought about lacerations, I said, oh my gosh, it sounds like maybe they were sitting down and he slashed their throats, like one right after the other. And my daughter says that's what was done. He slit both of their throats and then he stabbed them. So then apparently he went to, I think, was it UCLA around there, that they found him about 5 hours after this happened. And the 28-year-old daughter is the one who found her parents. They don't mention the oldest son. And let's see if there's anything else. All right. Rob Reiner's son is responsible for their death, according to police. Let's see. Nick Reiner is responsible for the deaths of his parents, the legendary Hollywood director Rob Reiner and producer Michelle Singer Reiner. The couple's daughter discovered them in their Brentwood home yesterday, Sunday. The 32-year-old son was seen having an argument with his father at a holiday party Saturday at Conan O'Brian's home. He was booked on suspicion of murder and is being held without bail in the Twin Towers jail. I think that's what it was, Twin Towers jail. Let's see. Sally Struthers, who of course played Gloria and Rob Reiner's online wife in All in the Family, said, "There are no words. This is beyond devastating, and my heart is with their family." Robin Wright, who starred in Reiner's Princess Bride, says, "I'm deeply shocked and devastated. Rob was one of the most loving, compassionate, and kind people I have ever known. He was an extraordinary director, and the impact he had on me has stayed with me throughout my career. My heart goes out to his family and loved ones during this incredibly difficult time." Viola Davis says, "Some losses are beyond words. Rob, the canon of your work, the passion of your advocacy, your beautiful soul will be immortal." Let's see. Nick Reiner has spent over a decade dealing with his addiction and at times has talked about it publicly, like in 2016. He's done numerous stints in rehab since the age of 15. At times he's been homeless. In a 2018 episode of Dopey, which is a podcast about the winding journey between addiction and recovery, Reiner said he first entered rehab when he was 15, and over the years he learned to work the system. And I quote him saying, "I just was like, you know what? I want to go home. And so I just stayed sober long enough till I could go home. And then, I just went home and did drugs." He also told the hosts about an outburst he had after he was sequestered in his parents' guest house, which led to an argument. And he said, "I got totally spun out on uppers. I think it was coke and something else, and I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house, including a TV and a lamp." The incident ultimately led to him doing another stint at a rehab. Okay, let's see. The double homicide case against Nick Reiner will be turned over to the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office tomorrow. The DA's office will consider filing charges against the suspect. Nick Reiner was booked on suspicion of murder, but it's up to the DA's office to charge him with specific counts. Okay, so there's not much else. Let's see here. Son is in custody now. Authorities